TFC Pitchside here at the lovely Kia training ground after Thursdays. Speaking with Greg Vanney and also a little bit with Chris Konopka, but thanks to the TTC we were a little bit late. Just a dagger in the heart. Nothing new in this city though, but we're here nonetheless and getting ready for DC United on Saturday. 20 matches unbeaten now after a 3-1 win last night for DC United against the Chicago Fire, and they look like possibly the team to beat in the East. Top of the table in the Eastern Conference and a good amount of points ahead of Toronto FC now, but they do have a couple of games in hand as we speak. So 20 games unbeaten and TFC without Michael Bradley. Going to be an interesting matchup for the Reds, who, let's remember, are unbeaten in their last 3 road games, which is pretty impressive in and of itself. But talking to Greg Vanney with other media, and I just figured why not ask him about the approach heading up to DC, where they've been unbeaten in 20 straight.
Do you change your approach at all with DC being such a strong team at home?
No, not really. I mean, I think for us, as we've settled into our identity as a group and how we can be successful, the game has its ebbs and flows, and they'll have their moments and we'll have ours, and it's about us recognizing when those times are happening and how to manage those moments, especially when you play a team that's at home and has a good standing at home over a number of games. They're for sure going to have some moments in the game, and it's really how we pull together collectively as a group and deal with it, and then turn the tide back in our favor. So I imagine it'll be a good game, and we just have to play accordingly.
So a lot like the beginning of the season, where TFC were happy to go away from home and be adventurous, be who they want to be Toronto FC, building that identity, which is great because that's the way they should be. That's the way I think they can win in this league. But at the same time, you have to worry about the fact that DC is quite good, and also the fact that you're not with Michael Bradley, and he is a big part of what this team does. So what happens without Michael Bradley in the lineup? TFC don't really have a suitable guy that can go in and do what Bradley does, because Bradley does just so many things, especially just his pressure at the top of that midfield. His pressuring of defenders just creates so many turnovers and wins TFC back the ball in such key areas of the pitch. I believe it'll be Jonathan Osorio that fills it in that position at the top of the diamond for TFC, but at the same time, he's not going to do a lot of the things that Michael Bradley does. He'll give TFC a different look, and it'll also be interesting to see what Oso can do in a more natural position for him, which is a little bit further up the pitch. Also wanted to figure out why Greg Vanney feels that Sebastian Giovinco, and it's now 2 straight games where it's been Giovinco and Luke Moore up top playing striker for Toronto FC. So I asked Greg Vanney just why it's worked so well, so early on, between Giovinco and Luke Moore.
Why does it work so well, the partnership between Giovinco and Luke Moore? It's only been a couple of games, but it seems to click right away.
Yeah, I think they're a good complement to each other. Luke is, by and large, he's a post-up guy. He's a guy you can play into. He's not all over the field. He's going to be in a few key areas on the field where you can find him and he can play. Sebastian's a guy who will drift around the field and find different areas. So for the group, we know where we can find Luke to try to hold up play, but we also know that Sebastian will sometimes drift out wide and drift into certain spots and unbalance the defense, where Luke is going to be our guy who's just going to kind of be there for us to get out of things. And it's also good for Sebastian because he knows where he can find Luke to combine off of him and to play little combination plays and things like that. So I think they're a good combination just because they're different. They're different types of players in a way that's good for each other.
So TFC winners of 4 in their last 6 games, unbeaten in 3. They're heading up to DC United, where the DC haven't lost in 20 straight on home turf. But some good news for TFC. DC's feeling a little bit hurt right now. Bill Hamid, day-to-day, he's their goalkeeper, and also Chris Pontius, day-to-day, he is one of their key cogs as well for DC United. So even though without Michael Bradley. There are some things on the other side of the ball that may be missing for DC United. Ashton Morgan and Jonathan Osorio, they will be available for this match against DC. They'll join the Canadian men's national team on Sunday, and that is when they go and play some World Cup qualifying for 2018. Yes, we are still in 2015, but nonetheless, the qualifying begins now for the Canadian men's national team. And TFC, their trek towards the top of the Eastern Conference, that continues on Saturday in DC against the top team in the East as we speak. I'm Dan Riccio. This was TFC Pitchside. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Leave us a comment how you think we're doing, and also follow us on Twitter at DanRiccio590 and the cameraman, Aman Delic. Until next week, this has been TFC Pitchside.